let's talk about Nick Mercs. Because Nick Mercs has been in the media today, and quite frankly, he's been in the media for a while now, as he recently made a deal to go to Kick, a $10 million contract, non-exclusive, so he'll still stream on Twitch a little bit, and he'll stream on Kick as well. And he talked on stream today about two things. He talked about how he part of his contract is that he is going to be gambling on stream, which seems awfully ironic for a guy so concerned about the kids and education to then be sitting there and pulling slot machines as part of his stream for his young audience. But hey, that's, I guess, neither here nor there. That's just kind of an interesting dichotomy that you can kind of get through that. But it is what it is. Money talks and whatever. And then the second thing that we're going to talk about here is the fact that he's also talked about how he had a deal with Twitch that wasn't paying him for his subs. And I think there's a little bit of misunderstanding of what he actually said during his stream. Nick Mercs will stream gambling on Kick, but not a shit ton. The FaZe Clan member recently announced a $10 million contract with a competitor, which is remarkable because his deal in and of itself is worth nearly as much as FaZe Clan. So that's kind of an impressive feat. Controversial streamer Nick Mercs Kolchev recently announced a massive $10 million deal with Twitch rivals Kick. And it seems that although he once implored pro-LGBTQIA people to leave children alone, he's not worried about teaching children how to gamble. And so we actually have the clip here.
Answer some questions in the chat. The first question I've been seeing is like, yo, Nick, are you going to do gambling streams?
A well-described furious chewing of gum. That's the most furious chewing of gum I have seen in a long time.
Gambling streams. Season! Yes, we're gonna do gambling. We're not gonna do a shit ton, but we're gonna do some gambling for sure. It's part of the contract, you know. With that being said, we got another place because you can't do it in America. You have to go somewhere else. So we went somewhere else and we got another place.
Which is a remarkable thing to do. Hey, this thing that we can't do in America because it's illegal, we're going to a different place to do instead. Andrew Santamaria, Kick's head of strategic partnerships, quoted the post above and stated that there is no gambling clause this is if you're not a Twitch streamer and part of the in crowd and understanding the lexicon here. Gamba means gambling, coined by XQC, top gambler on Kick. Clause in the Kick contract. Jake Lucky, who initially shared the clip, then clarified, writing that Kolchev has a Stake contract alongside his Kick contract. Stake is a gambling website co-owned by Bijan Tarani and Ed Craven, who are Kick's major backers, along with streamer Tyler Faraz Nicknam. So Santamaria's clarification isn't entirely honest. Interestingly, Kolchev suggests in the clip above that he will be streaming outside of North America for those gambling-related sessions, likely because Stake is banned in the US. So this is kind of a funny thing that I think is worth pointing out, because a lot of the times the people who have gone to Kick have said, oh, Stake and Kick, that's different companies. They're completely separate. It's not the same ownership structure. It's not there's different people who own the company, and some of them have crossover, but completely different companies. Well, I mean, when both companies seem to have basically a kind of relationship that is effectively their neighbors, it's not hard to say, hey, can I mow your grass? And they say, yeah, sure, by all means. There's no fence between us. Mow the grass. Allow me to pull this up from, say, Sarah here. What have you got for me? Kick owners, Stake owners. Corporate needs you to find the difference between these two pictures. Between this picture and this picture. They're the same pictures, yeah. Twitch banned gambling sites like Stake back in 2022 after users voiced concerns that prominent streamers were promoting sites to young, impressionable viewers. And though Craven announced back in June that Kick had removed some unnecessary exposure to gambling-related content and would be adding the ability to toggle off all gambling-related streams, gambling is clearly still a cornerstone of the streaming service. So much so that Kolchev, one of the most prominent figures in the industry, will be hosting gambling streams as part of his new deal. That's kind of the first story here. There is a second story that I think is worth talking about. The fact that these big money deals, and again, I have an article here that kind of talks a little bit about that one. This is from Cecilia D'Anastasio. Twitch, YouTube are slowing big money deals for gaming talent, talking about how this isn't inherently news, but it was published recently, back on October 23rd. That kind of goes into detail on how Dan Clancy and YouTube are kind of stepping away from the competing deals to basically sign talent. So we've kind of seen a lot of these deals that have backed down, that obviously were very popular in the Mixer days and then kind of extended through the pandemic a little bit, that are no longer going to be a priority for Twitch, YouTube, other streaming platforms, except for Kick. So now that those kind of big money deals are over, and I think, when did Nick Mercs sign his last contract? Nick Mercs contract, Twitch. Dan tweeted this 20 minutes ago. When was his previous contract? Yeah, here you go. His previous contract with Twitch, and Twitch used to do 2-year deals, was back sometime around October 5th, 2021. So he effectively ended that contract just about 3 weeks
Someone
ago.
bought merch.
From this point. Nick Mercs just leaked that he didn't get any of his sub money on Twitch. Twitch took 100%, and Nick was given a MG, minimum guarantee, every month. So that's kind of a remarkable thing to kind of throw out there without the context of what an MG is. MG is minimum guarantee. And the way that traditional minimum guarantees work is that effectively is, hey, you're going to get X amount of money per month guaranteed. If it goes beyond that amount of money, then we will split whatever is or depending on the deal, we'll split whatever happens after that fact. But effectively, here is your monthly salary. You don't have to worry about performance. You don't have to worry about subs. You don't have to worry about bits. You don't have to worry about anything else in terms of how you're actually generating money for Twitch. You get a minimum guarantee. This is pretty standard across a lot of different deals that occur in the world. Again, I'm not a complete expert on it, but it's a kind of thing of, hey, if Twitch came to me and they said, hey, we'll give you a minimum guarantee of $10,000, and in a month I made $12,000 for Twitch through subs and bits, well, that first $10,000 goes back to Twitch. They've already paid me. They've already given me that $10,000, so that is a guaranteed. That is my minimum guarantee. That additional $2,000, that might actually be something that pays out. So effectively, what he is saying here is that if Twitch took 100%, he wasn't earning more than he was making for Twitch. So he, in getting this minimum guarantee that wasn't anything above, he was actually getting more money than he would have made just from his bits and subs. That seems like a good deal. Now, theoretically, there could have been other parts of it that he negotiated, and that's why you have a negotiating team and a lawyer to look through these things, to be like, hey, minimum guarantee of so-and-so, but performance bonus. If I stream more, maybe there'll be additional perks. If for some reason we do a subathon and we blow past this record, maybe additional perks from that. That there's a bunch of different ways that you can structure a deal that isn't just flat payment. So the idea that now that his contract with Twitch is done, that he's out here just going, yeah, Twitch never paid me for any of that, it's kind of disingenuous. It doesn't seem fair. You signed the deal, you agreed to the deal, presumably you had a lawyer who and a manager who would look through it and be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense for our client, because realistically, we're not 100% sure that you're going to continue to grow and make more money, so we're signing a deal that guarantees what you make. That's what it is. It's not anything complicated. It's not something where it's trying to rip off Nick Mercs. He made a deal, and maybe that deal panned out, and maybe it didn't. I don't know the specifics of it, but a minimum guarantee isn't the kind of dunk that I think people think that he, or maybe he even thinks that he is saying it is. Anyways, let's watch the clip and then read some of this context here.
You can do the math. I mean, I don't know why, but it's fucking awesome. I love that. Okay. With that being said, for a long time now, and I don't know how you're gonna feel about me telling you this, but I'm just gonna tell you, I didn't see any of that. Like I got paid, like a fixed amount no matter what. You know what I mean? So when someone comes in the stream and they gift 100, they're just, I mean, I don't, you know what I mean? Hey, yo, I appreciate that. You guys love. You know what I mean? But I don't. That's not mine. You know what I mean? No, I'm serious because you get a certain amount. It's called an MG. Okay, but with Kick on the Kick deal, dude, I get an MG and I get all my shit off my dashboard. You know, so it's still the same appreciation, but I'm sure you guys can imagine like it's a little bit different when
Ryan Wyatt, who is better known as Fwiz, was in fact the head of YouTube gaming for a significant period of time before leaving to go to Polygon. They responded here, saying this was pretty much pretty normal across creator deals. You need to recoup ad and non-ad revenue as you're paying a minimum guarantee that largely is more than what you'll recoup. So effectively, he's saying that the minimum guarantee is, again, if they're paying, I'm just making up a number here, if they're paying $10,000 per month, the amount of money that they're recouping from non-ad revenue and ad revenue, so this is subs, bits, and ads, is maybe $9K, right? So overall, the platform is still in the red. They've lost $1K because they've paid out a minimum guarantee. So theoretically, if they didn't have this deal, they would have made less money. Nick would have made less money. Now, there's obviously an argument to say that, okay, well, because of the fact that he was getting a minimum guarantee, there's no reason for him to push for additional subs and bits and other ways to monetize because he's got a minimum guarantee. So he doesn't have to push for that. So theoretically, if he didn't have the minimum guarantee, maybe he would have made more because he would have done things like subathons and incentivizing bits and other things that creators can do, add text to speech, etc. But he hasn't been ripped off here. I think the perception here is that he's been ripped off, but he hasn't. Hence, those creator deals were largely loss leaders for all companies. Even with Kick, you need to justify it by user acquisition of people who will gamble. So this is an interesting one because Fwiz has often been perceived as being like part of the W community. He is close with Dr. Disrespect. Maybe he's closer with Nick Mercs. I don't know. So he does kind of have that side of things that you would think that, and he's into cryptocurrency, so maybe he would be more likely to give Kick a pass. But he's even saying it. He's even saying that for Kick to succeed, they have to get people to gamble. And so you start to see this here. Gambling isn't a variable in Kick deals. That's with Kick, Stake directly. Seems like a part of Nick's deal is that a requirement to be on Stake. I'm not seeing a Kick contract, but there's a huge value funnel for Kick to Stake. And so Kick is absolutely thinking about that as part of their strategy. Now, there was a response from Dan Clancy. Well, actually, here's Hunter that responded to Ryan saying, still think it's insane. I feel safe to assume the large majority of the public has no idea this is how it works. Feels like it's a lie of omission about who the money fans are paying is going to. Who would sub to a streamer knowing they got nothing from it? Ooh, that's an intriguing response. That's a very intriguing response that also positions it in a way that is somewhat of a lie or dishonest as well. But let's see what Dan Clancy said. Ryan got this right. I think it is all in how you describe it. Another way to describe his deal was he received the money from the subs, and then we topped him off to reach his minimum guarantee. There are other deals that people receive that were more performance incentives, where they kept all of their organic revenue, but got a performance incentive on top of this. Again, that's fine. That would be something that you would negotiate with your lawyer, with your talent agent, etc., to be able to make a deal that made sense for you. In general, these performance incentive deals were smaller in guaranteed money because the creator was going at more risk in case they did not hit their target numbers. But there was also more upside if they outperformed. Some creators negotiated hard to get more of a minimum guarantee deal. In general, I agree with Nick's assessment that the minimum guarantee deals were not ideal, and it is better to have less guaranteed dollars, but more upside depending on your performance. This assessment, I also completely agree in that if you are a creator that gets a minimum, as I was saying before, if you're a creator that gets a deal and it's to pay you 10K per month and you earn 9K, there's no specific reason why you would want to try to increase your overall revenue. Why would you push for more people to subscribe? Why would you push for more people to give bits? Why would you push for more donations and tips or whatever? There's no specific reason why you would. You have a guarantee. There's no performance bonus on top of it. It is what it is. If you do outperform, this is the theoretical thing that maybe happened some months, is that if he was getting 10K per month, again, I'm just making up these numbers, is that perhaps 1 month he made 11K, right? And then theoretically, there could be a situation where he still saw none of that money, despite the fact that he performed above the guarantee. Perhaps. Again, I don't know. I would assume that most deals probably would not see creators or Nick get a higher deal, but that's just my assumption. Long and the short, the perception here is certainly trying to position it as though Nick Mercs is the victim in all of this, but he's clearly not been a victim at all. He made a deal, the deal panned out, he got paid, and now he's got a new place where he has to gamble as part of the deal that he has made, and perhaps is trying to divert attention a little bit. I don't know. I have no idea what his intent is in trying to kind of make it look like he's dunking on Twitch here when he's really not.